Welcome
to the Kaijusaurus
Podcast. Hello everyone, we're back.
We're back again. This is the Kaijusaurus Podcast, the podcast in which a lifelong fan of Godzilla and Kaiju movies watches and reviews all the 30 plus films in the Godzilla canon with a blank slate / newbie.
Say it again, but clearly.
No.
It's good to be back. We've been a little delayed this time around, but the excuse I would say is reasonable. I've been moving. I live in a new city. I'm reunited with my fiancée, so that's pretty good.
Aye.
So I've not had time to spend it with you.
Well, so you say.
So I say. How have you been?
I'm good also.
Good.
Yes.
And how have you been, dear listeners? I want a 5-second pause of no audio so that you can tell me how you're doing now. Good. I'm glad. Or, you know,
that was 2 seconds. Today on the Kaijusaurus Podcast. I did that like a fucking morning
Today, on
variety
the
show.
Kaijusaurus Podcast, Steven and Ross are going to talk about 2001's
There we go.
Godzilla
Nope.
vs.
2000.
2000's
You idiot!
Godzilla versus...
This is why we don't mess with the dynamic.
No, we have a flow.
Yeah.
You're in charge. Don't rock the boat. I know. What was the film?
We're talking about 2000's Godzilla vs. Megaguirus, directed by Masaki Tezuka. Yeah, it's a film.
What can you tell me about the circumstances of this film being made? It's sort of the second in the new generation.
Yeah, second in the Millennium series. Like I said to you last time, the sort of modus operandi for that series was, every film's a reboot. Directors out to come in and breathe and do their own thing. Interpret Godzilla, the character of the franchise, in their own way. But as fucking these things do, it doesn't really pan out how it was totally intended, etc. So stepping into the director's chair for this one is Masaki Tezuka. This is his first of 3 Godzilla films he would eventually make. So, he ultimately comprises half of this new series.
So he's a big, important boy.
Yeah, and when you look at it that way, it's not exactly, new fresh director every time.
Right, yeah.
And there's a case to be made that with each of his Godzilla films, he keeps remaking the same film.
Right, okay.
Again and again. But, you might not feel that way. This is the first one you've seen.
Exactly. I might go into open-minded.
So this is Godzilla vs. Megaguirus. Again, a complete franchise reboot, not totally devoid of continuity, but basically a blank slate. Now, I think going into the discussion of this film, we should probably just open with the fact that, you and I, last episode, were both very keen on Godzilla 2000. From which this film is a significant step down.
We'll see.
In my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to admire in this film, but I mean, the Godzilla of last year, not literally last year, but the previous Godzilla film, I think we both really, really liked, and just kind of came out the gate running. So, I mean, I certainly like that film a lot more. But I wouldn't say that this film's particularly, it's not an ineffective film. I think it does its job well. Do you want to just fire in with kind of how the movie starts and kind of roughly talk through? Well,
we open with a sudden newscast from the 50s.
I like that a lot.
Detailing Godzilla's rampage in Tokyo in 1954. But superimposing footage of the new Godzilla suit into archival footage from the original movie. Positing that Godzilla did indeed attack in 54, but instead of being destroyed by the oxygen destroyer by Dr. Serizawa, he just retreated into the ocean to be seen again in 1966, where he attacked Japan's first nuclear power plant. Mm-hmm. And by this point, we're sort of in an alternate history.
Yeah, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah, Japan's capital is no longer Tokyo; it's moved to Osaka. The Diet Building is in Osaka. Like I said to you, that's sort of like the visual equivalent of seeing the White House in the middle of New York City or something.
Yeah, because I had to kind of lean over and be like, Stephen, is the capital of Tokyo Tokusatsu. I don't actually know, but I do actually know because I know that Tokyo means Eastern Capital.
Well, there we go. Trivia. And from then on, it details that Japan gives up nuclear energy entirely, switches to solar power, wind power, etc. But
clean energy. Getting with it.
But allegedly, none of these combined fulfill the demand of the populace. And
most unrealistic part of the film, because they absolutely would.
Exactly, yeah.
But no,
clean energy, it's the future.
It's the way, get with it,
It's the future if we let it be. So Godzilla attacks again in 1996. But by this point, there's an elite group of soldiers ready to attack him. And this is all a rapid-fire start of the movie.
Yeah, I want to talk about this sequence in particular, because you come right out of this kind of alt history, flashback, narrated section of what's gone before, so it really just lays the ground for exactly where we are.
Yeah.
And it's really actually quite an interesting way to start the movie, because for the first time we're seeing a Godzilla invasion, and he often starts the movies coming ashore, but you really get it from the perspective of these defense force soldiers.
Yeah.
You start with the group of soldiers, including Tujimori, who later becomes the major.
Yeah.
So it's from their perspective, it's following them as they encounter almost a routine Godzilla invasion that they have prepared for.
Yeah.
It's shot from really, really low angles, all shot from their perspective. Again, just keeping that size and scale of Godzilla in mind. And then also, some of the really cool shots are like down low, but in an alleyway. So you see Godzilla's frame just passing by the sort of thin, narrow hallway of the alleyway, which is really cool.
It's all ground level. They're not in like choppers or robots or anything. They're literally on the ground troops with rocket launchers.
Yeah, with bazookas.
Yeah.
So they do their best to fight off Godzilla, but then ultimately he breaks through, destroys the soldiers, and the only survivor is Tujimura, who is enraged and upset that her sort of commanders has been killed.
Yeah,
and she takes his dog tag to keep that.
The old chestnut.
That's the one. The ultimate, the white whale vengeance thing.
Yeah.
But from there, we flash forward into mostly the modern day, 2001. So I think set a year
in advance.
Of the movie, advance. The strange worlds of 2001, the vast futures.
And we meet the G-Graspers, which is this specialised anti-Godzilla unit that's been formed.
They've recruited some nerdy scientists.
Like G-Force.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, but G-Grasper, which makes more sense.
I tell you what, they've got fucking nothing on the Godzilla Prediction Network from Godzilla 2000.
Exactly.
Who were the fucking boss.
It would have been so cool if that had like turned into like a mainstream version of this.
Well,
like if
they sold out.
I know, right? No, yeah, like if they totally sold out. Like the daughter from the last one was sort of like the brainchild of this new operation, and it was sort of like all of the philosophy and good-natured thinking of the G Network, but with big money funds. But yeah, no, we meet this group, and we're shown this scientist, and he's the one whose recruitment introduces us to G-Force, but he's not really the main character. Kudo, yeah. We just use him as an entryway. We really mostly follow the major. She's the real emotional through line. But we meet G-Grasper, and we meet this organization, and it's I'd say a really in-depth... This movie sort of features, I'd say, maybe the most in-depth look at one of these big sort of anti-Godzilla organizations that we've had. I think you spend the most time about these... with these groups.
That's fair to say, yeah.
And they, what I like is they kind of run you through the process. They have 3 distinct divisions. They have a search squad, a sort of study unit, and a sort of statistics and evacuation unit, as well as the G-Grasper sort of force. When the major represents.
Although the G-Graspers themselves, all they seem to have is that plane.
I know, yeah, they got that one plane.
The Griffin, I think it's called.
Yeah, they're like a non-military fucking intervention force, which I like. I'm glad that they've not got their own paramilitary.
It's a bit Thunderbirds.
That's it.
Which is nice.
What I mean, we'll talk about this as we go on, but I mean, ultimately throughout this film, you've got this G-Grasper, which is a very, like, Thunderbirds-y, positive, optimistic, like, everyone's working together. Top scientists, top minds, all working for the common good.
Ultimately, it's revealed a sort of darkish secret at its core.
That we learn from the sort of head operator, but we'll get there. But one of the things you learn quite quickly is that, I mean, they make a point not only to show you the Major, who has a tragic background and revenge, and that she's been affected by earlier Godzilla attacks.
Yes.
But they also show you the sort of lead scientist, I forget her name, the doctor. They give you very briefly her own flashback of her colleagues dying in some sort of evacuation. But to me, it just gives you this feeling that, like, there is a real human trauma about these Godzilla attacks, and the attempt by the group here is really to just make sure this doesn't happen again. You buy everyone's motivations, that it's a reasonable thing that they want to stop.
They seem to all actually genuinely care.
Yeah. And there's no, aside from what we learn at the end about the boss of this organisation and his sort of hidden motives, everyone's ready to work and everyone wants the same thing. They are testing a big black hole gun
called the Dimension Tide. So the crux of this movie, Godzilla vs. Megaguirus, the G-Annihilation Strategy, to give it its full title. The film really should just be called Godzilla vs. the Dimension Tide.
Yeah, when that little tagline came on, it was very, very intense. It just slams it on at the next thing.
So the scientists are creating a man-made black hole. Ross is eating a bag of nacho cheese Doritos. In case you wonder what that crunching is. Fucking Dimension Tide. That shit. That's what.
It's a big black hole laser.
Literally, when you see the station that it's going to launch from in space, it says Dimension Tide (brackets black hole gun).
Just so you know.
So they're making a man-made black hole, and they're going to fire it at Godzilla and make him, to quote the initial American DVD release subtitles, disappear up his own butthole.
Really?
Yep.
That's amazing. They should have kept that.
They got rid of that, thank God. But
no, that's a shame. I think they should have kept it.
That's
No, it's dreadful.
Historic lines of the Godzilla series.
Exactly. We follow a wee boy
who's a little dick.
He's a wee dick. He lives nearby. Fucking mum tells him not to go far, but he wanders out into the woods.
And he... Anyway, we're getting
deep down in plot. But basically, a boy happens upon the black hole site where he discovers an egg that's been left in the fray of this disappeared test ground.
And he takes it to Tokyo.
Yeah, he takes it home, but then they're moving, so he takes it into the heart of Tokyo.
There's a lot of time jumps in this movie.
Yeah, this movie actually spans quite a while.
I think this movie must take place over about, in total, like, actually, if you want to take it way far, it takes place over like 50 years.
Yeah, from the beginning of the film franchise to the present day. But yeah, I mean, this kid fucking takes his slimy, rotten horror egg home, moves to Tokyo, the big city. Then they show you...
Puts it in the sewer?
Yeah, they show you him looking through his stuff and realising it's starting to ooze. So he's clearly like, ooh, I probably shouldn't have this at home, I'll get in trouble. So he just punts it into the sewer. Just gets rid of it.
Then forgets about it.
He fly tips, Stephen.
He does, yeah.
And you know how I feel about fly tipping.
Oh, I do, yeah.
Because I was once falsely accused by the Stirling City Council of fly tipping, of littering a large bag of rubbish.
It was a saga.
It was a saga. It was not my own fault. I did not do it. I was falsely accused.
Ross, it's over.
I know. So this boy, littering and getting away with it, not getting fined, £80, upsets me deeply. And he destroyed his entire city.
He didn't actually...
I didn't get fined.
Yeah.
I didn't get fined in the end. I fought the council and I won.
You're like the A-team.
I'm an inspiration to
You're a
everyone.
one-man A-team. The A-man.
The A-man.
The A-boy.
A-boy.
A boy.
I'm a boy. Anyway, so he chucks this egg down the drain, and obviously it then starts like reacting to the being underwater, being under the sewers in the dark, and starts to spore out and
it gives birth to these giant, horrible, prehistoric insects called the Meganulon. The Meganulon become the Meganura, I think. I can't fucking remember.
Basically, little dragonfly boys keep evolving into these bloodthirsty wee
until they all
insects.
And there's obviously a queen. The queen is Megaguirus, big, giant, massive fuck off, dragonfly, Batra-looking bitch. And all these things, as they do, coalesce. Megaguirus and Godzilla eventually clash, and while the G-Graspers are hopefully they're going to annihilate each other, but the Dimension Tide is ready to fire.
Yes.
The Meganulon, the initial dragonfly stages of Megaguirus, originally appeared in a 50s Toho movie called Rodan.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They're in Rodan. They're the initial threat, which sort of like the role in this. They're the initial threat, which gives way to the giant monster threat.
Ah.
So, yeah. That's a little bit of triv.
I enjoy that triv. That's good triv.
What did you think of Godzilla vs. Megaguirus, the G-Annihilation strategy?
Well, like I was saying, I certainly liked it, and I think there's...
Oh, surprise!
There's... okay, well, you asked me for my fucking opinion, and I gave it, and here I am getting mocked in front of tens of listeners, and...
There are dozens of us.
I don't feel like a big man here. I don't feel respected. I'm out. No, yeah, I liked it, and
fun fact: G-Fest shows this film like every fucking year.
Oh, do they? This is a fun fact. I can watch this in a crowd. What I like about it, I do find a lot of the what's the name of the organisation? They're the G
Graspers.
I know they're the G Graspers, but what's the bigger organisation? Anyway, I like all the G Grasper stuff. I do find a lot of it inventive. It has like a freshness and an energy, and what I will say, and I'll get to it later on, is the monster fight is really good, and I'm someone that kind of finds a lot of them a bit boring.
Yeah.
I really like the monster fight in this one. But anyway, I want to start with a few things that I actually really, really liked about the film, and this has probably been talked about before, but obviously, before I really started watching Godzilla films, one of the sort of first kaiju adjacent things I would have seen was Pacific Rim.
Yeah.
And watching this, I can almost see like this movie in particular being a bit of the blueprint for Pacific Rim.
Okay, like a history of...
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, it opens in a very similar way with a description of various kaiju invasions and going into how that's necessitated the creation of a sort of utopian force.
Yeah.
It's people from all over, different trades and skills, all working together, utilising sort of cutting-edge technology, kind of working in secret.
Yeah.
And that was just a little sort of thought that came to me that you know, I could easily see that being a clear, direct source of sort of inspiration for later Pacific Rim and things like that. Going back to what we were talking about the original monsters that we see, the sort of dragonfly evolved, fucked up little things that are sneaking around Tokyo. You know, they get a little bit of mileage out of the kind of shock horror creature feature stuff.
Yeah, there's a couple of those really horrible deaths.
Yeah, like two guys get eviscerated, or a guy and a girl get absolutely eviscerated by this little dragonfly. I mean, you see you almost ripping his head off or like through his neck.
Yeah, and they get horrible black bile thrown up on their faces and stuff.
Vomited, poisoned on their faces. Yeah. It's intense, it's a lot. And then they don't really go back to that. I mean, I thought we were going to go in investigating these civilian deaths. But
no, that little boy's got blood in his hands.
Yeah, that little boy has got blood in his hands.
Yeah.
This would not have happened if it wasn't for him.
No.
And he needs to live with that shame and for the rest of his life.
I hope he does.
I hope he does, yeah. I hope they put him into witness protection so no one would get him.
I hope people get him.
Another thing I liked was when a few action sequences I did find quite engaging, quite effective. I did really like the Major. She works as just a quite engaging protagonist. You know, you know exactly what her deal is, like we said, the white whale thing. She wants to kill Godzilla because Godzilla killed her commander, someone she respected, someone she cared for. And at the very end, she is completely successful. You know, the sort of end credit sequence teases that Godzilla will return, but the ending, or one of the near ending shots, is her triumphantly looking out over a devastated Tokyo that she has successfully helped to destroy Godzilla.
Triumphantly looking over a devastated Tokyo.
Yeah, she's like, yes, we did it, excellent. Minus civilian casualties.
They just fire a black hole into like a major city
that was like partially evacuated. It's dreadful. It's dreadful. How do you cover that? Yeah, well,
Whoops!
And it didn't work! Godzilla came back! It did not work in any way. And it wasn't like 10 years later he returned. The boy, in the after the credits sequence, the boy's the same age. In fact, he's just started school after the summer.
Yeah.
Godzilla was not destroyed in any way, and it's very funny.
Actually, yeah, that's right, because like, yeah, for the kid, the film takes place over the summer because he's watching that kids show and it says, "Oh, are you doing your summer break homework?" And then
And after the credits
he's back
he
at
starts school.
It takes place over what, maximum 6 weeks?
Yeah.
They fired a black hole into a populated city to buy us 6 weeks peace.
Worked out.
Like cleanup.
Heads will roll.
How many people were just sent into another space?
Yeah, right. How many people are just surviving on an asteroid in the nether realms? They're at least like, oh, isn't Godzilla supposed to be here as well? I thought I would see him by now. But you know, some of the action sequences I really like the scene where the Major and some of the other G-graspers deploy down into the water to find the shriveled carcass of the dragonfly in a sort of larva stage, and then Godzilla comes up beneath them.
That's right.
Now the Major sticks around. She gets her friend out of there, but she sticks around because she wants to put a tracking dart into Godzilla. And the sequence where she jumps into the water and then grabs onto Godzilla's scales as he rises up out of the water, and I think for the first time that I've seen in film, someone's physically on Godzilla.
Yeah.
Physically contacted with him, hiding on one of his scales, grabbing on for dear life, sort of preparing herself, steeling herself for putting in this dart. And that little sequence I just thought was really inventive and really kind of exciting and clever, and something that we haven't
it's one of the highlights of the film, definitely.
I mean, I like I said, it explores this G-grasper thing quite a lot, and that you know, that's fun. There's a lot of, it's one of those movies where you get a lot of mileage out of watching it because your imagination gets to kind of go away a little bit, and you get to really think about all the ins and outs of what G-grasper type organizations like, the work they do. I mean, I had a thought, and I feel like if you're making a Godzilla game, you know, if you're going to make a big new Godzilla game, you would not be in the wrong to sort of do a G-Force, G-Grasper style game. You're not playing Godzilla. It'd be in the style of maybe XCOM, the XCOM games, I know you've not played them, or the Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain Mother Base thing. So it'd be like base deployment. You'd be more be like Football Manager. You're running your G-Force base. You're investing money in the research side of things. You're deploying troops to like outbursts of Kaiju related attacks. You're controlling recruitment. You customize your troops and you give them, you know, points in their skills and their science.
There's actually a big new cross-franchise video game come out in Japan just this past week or so called City Shrouded in Shadow, where you play as the tagline of the game is, it's not the story of a hero, it's your story. You play as an ordinary civilian trying to survive through a massive catastrophe in a city. Okay. And the catastrophes can be Godzilla characters, Gamera characters, Ultraman, Evangelion. Wow. Like loads of shit. And so that's cool.
They owe me money. But you know, something like that would actually be a lot of fun. Just heavy Godzilla based customization. You eventually save up enough money to buy your own like Mecha Godzilla that you can customize and things like that as well.
Yeah,
I think there's something.
There we go. Jot it down.
Write it down. TM. Trademark.
Yeah, because most Godzilla games, obviously, you play as monsters themselves, and when you do that, it's fun, but you're limited to what you can do.
It tends to be fighting games.
Fight or destroy.
Yeah.
And after a while, you know, you kind of get a bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whereas if you almost just ape XCOM, where you know you've got like a big world map and things flare up and you send people down and things like that, it's sort of real time strategy. I think there's a market there for G fans, for Kaiju fans there.
So what the hell were you talking about?
Going back on to what I probably want to talk about now is just the final fight.
Oh, that's right.
Between G-Boy and Megaguirus.
And Meg.
Aye. G-Boy and Meg. So I really like this fight. It uses special effects really, really well. Camera work gets to improve a little bit because it can get the support of special effects, meaning the camera's free to move around a lot more, move in and out a lot more.
This is true, yeah.
So this fight had a lot of like really big camera rushes, the camera sort of panning around them. The special effect, one of the issues that's just the practical effects of Godzilla has is with flying creatures.
This is true.
They tend to sort of dangle above and just fly sort of statically towards Godzilla, and not hugely quickly necessarily. But in this film, they have the sort of benefit of technology, which means that Meg flies really fast, comes in and out, and whips back and forth at Godzilla, speeds past him, speeds into him, hits him hard, and buggers off. Floats in his head, zips past around him. So there's a real quickness to this.
Yeah, it's a good example of a practical prop being augmented with CGI.
Yeah, it works really well. So Meg is really annoying. He's sort of pestering him, and it's a quick, swift fight when Godzilla kind of goes for him.
Jags him in the boss act.
It's sort of vaguely sexual belly injection.
Yeah.
Saps his energy.
Yeah. Takes his precious bodily fluids.
He gives Godzilla a lot of hickeys. Is something I noticed.
Sure does.
Just lots of neck bites, which is very important. But yeah, no, I would say on the whole it was an entertaining fight, and it was fairly swift, which is something that I enjoy very, very much.
This film on the whole is a tad on the... Yeah, it's not even that long a film. It's an hour and 45, but it's longer than it needs to.
Yeah, I mean, an hour and 45 still a little long. Just an hour and a half.
Well, obviously, as Roz has always said, and which you fully convinced me of now, by the way, any film over 90 minutes really has to earn it.
Yeah, I have to work for that.
Really has to earn it.
No, absolutely. And this is me off the back of unrelated tangent, but we just both saw and enjoyed Blade Runner 2049.
Oh, that was...
Yeah, I think I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
But even then, 2 hours 45, just a little less.
Oh, see, I didn't feel it at all. Because usually when I watch film of that length, I'll get a bit like,
yeah, a bit.
Okay, fidgety, etc. Looking at my timepiece.
But
no, not at all. When it was over, I was like, fuck, has it really been that
long?
I
mean, it certainly went by quicker. You certainly don't feel it far too much, but I think just the more I thought about it, I was like, maybe just a slight... Nothing drastic needed to go, but just... But anyway.
But with Godzilla vs. Megaguirus, it's not a film that's exactly economical with its runtime. So many of my issues with the 90s movies, I think I can reapply to this one, is that...
I just really wanted a crisp. I'm so sorry, everyone.
He's having a Dorito. It's got a really, really interesting setup, the sort of alternate history of Japan due to Godzilla. A really strong intro that just goes bang, bang, bang. And then sort of doesn't grind to a halt, but what it does become is something that doesn't really utilise its super interesting setup.
Yeah.
This alternate history of Japan does ultimately become just that, a setup. Until the finale, I suppose, where the plasma / nuclear energy does come back up. But yeah, there's a lot of plodding in this film and pacing issues, I think. And there's a lot of the movie without Godzilla.
Yeah.
Which is not a bad thing in theory at all, but when... I don't know.
Yeah, no, the characters aren't that compelling. The Major is really the only one with character conviction.
Yeah.
And it's kind of card paper thin.
G-Graspers, or the organisation, is G-Force redressed.
Yeah, you could have explored that a lot more. You could have done more with that.
It's redressed and stripped down also. They're not got like fucking robots or any shit like that.
Yeah.
The old, fucking avenging the killed in action commanding officer, we've seen a billion times before. Not in Godzilla movies, but just, in general. In general, yeah, it's been done to death.
Yeah, and for that to be your main character... Only worrying about that really is not compelling.
They don't go further enough either way with the white whale Ahab revenge story.
Is she taking that to the very end?
Yeah, they don't have her being obsessively consumed with revenge.
The antagonist was in the last film.
Exactly. Or they don't
ride it to the very end.
They don't have her go the other way, which is come to sort of
a peace or acceptance.
Yeah, they don't have her come to respect Godzilla in a way, which a lot of these characters often end up doing. They just sort of have her ambivalently do her job with her assigned motivation.
Yeah, and she does it.
Yeah, and I guess she's pleased at the end.
Yeah, I mean, until she finds out.
Another issue I have with the movie is, the clean break from continuity, etc. New director allowed to do what he wants, etc.
Yeah.
Despite all that, I don't see any reason why this couldn't have been a sequel to 2000.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think yeah, actually maybe would have benefited.
Yeah, because they could have kept everything in this film.
Yeah, like I said,
really.
they could have kept the characters.
They could have kept the characters.
The original cast. I would have loved that.
They could have kept the alternate history. Because Godzilla's backstory in Godzilla 2000 is kept ambiguous. Mm-hmm. It's just there.
Yeah.
And I didn't even down to the fact that using the exact same suit, the same Godzilla suit as the last movie. I don't see any reason why this couldn't have been a sequel to 2000.
Yeah.
It doesn't really do anything interesting with its break from continuity, except from set it up as backstory. Which is a shame.
Yeah, no, it is a shame.
When you're allowed that much creative freedom.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, sometimes the best part about creative freedom is to not do things like that.
Yeah.
Is to actually stay close to the bone and just jump out, change a few things when it's really right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, there are some films in the past of the Godzilla franchise that I'd say maybe would have benefited being standalone, and vice versa, films that, like this one, that actually would have benefited with the background of a previous film, just importing the characters and performers of the last one who were really engaging and enjoyable. And worked really well together as a wee group.
Yeah.
It would have been fun to just bring them out and see how the Godzilla network has developed.
Because I don't feel like I have any characters in this movie to really root for.
No.
I guess you root for the Major because you're told you should.
And she's engaging enough
for
like a base level. But
yeah, but Kudo, I can't fucking stand.
Yeah,
he's just annoying as
shit.
shit.
He's just annoying. The Tripper...
like when he tries to flirt with her, like, "Oh, are you working out? What a waste of time."
Yeah, and then he takes her... He sees the dog tag of her fallen comrade in her bag or whatever and takes it out, and she's like, "Oh, was this a boyfriend?" It's like, oh yeah, she's carrying about her boyfriend's dog tag. You know what dog tags are used for? Just identifying who your boyfriend is and not to mark death. Not to mark a reminder of who a person was in the event of their death in combat. Fucking moron. But then it's good that they don't flirt any more than that. If they sort of become a romantic item or implied flirtation. There's a bit of it, but I don't think they'll become an item.
Yeah, and who cares?
The Major deserves better. But yeah, I mean, these characters are fine, but they're fine enough to watch through. But yeah, it just lacks that spark of really engaging characters that really stops
it's
it being...
It's a film that should be like an hour and 20.
Yeah, then it gets
solidly 80 minutes.
No, totally.
Not an hour and 45. This could be streamlined a lot.
Yeah.
There's other stuff that I just take issue with a bit. Like there's some weird bits of filmmaking. Like for example, when Megaguirus herself first emerges and her in the big full giant kaiju adult form, and it's an attack and Kudo's there, and we suddenly smash cut to Kudo waking up in a hospital bed, injured. And I said to you, when I was a kid, I thought Megaguirus emerging was a dream sequence. Because we immediately smash cut to him waking up in a bed.
Yeah, you don't actually see him get smacked.
It's just a weird bit of filmmaking.
Yeah, it's a bit arresting, and it kind of makes you think, wait, did he get hit? I don't understand. For no real reason, like...
Yeah. And
it doesn't break that little bump of not seeing him get hit doesn't really add anything. It just kind of makes you go, wait, what?
And then there's also the sort of older male scientist who I don't think is even named, who is just in 2 scenes to drop 50s monster movie style exposition, like the Megaguirus were a prehistoric race of insects that were, and it's like, okay.
Great. Cheers. Thanks for that, buddy.
It's just there to drop exposition that doesn't really do much to
take us further. Yeah. Is there anything else you feel about this movie?
I think it's an okay film.
Yeah,
honestly, same. I think it's harmless. It's not what it could have been or should have been. It's a bit boring in the middle.
Yeah. But no, I'd watch it. It's watchable.
I maybe feel like it would have been a more interesting film without an enemy monster.
Yeah.
If it was solely sort of, Godzilla versus the Dimension Tide.
Yeah, exactly. About the ethics of a group trying to destroy. I mean, that is true. I mean, they don't always have to be Godzilla versus something.
Exactly.
Where Godzilla ends up kind of becoming a loose ally that we then tearfully have to defeat anyway because he's fucking up the city.
Yeah.
It would be fun to have a movie that just really gets down to business to explore like the nature of this antagonism that we kind of naturally have to have with Godzilla because he steps on all her shit. And to see the Major's relationship with Godzilla, like she doesn't even have to have relationships with other major characters, but to see a relationship with Godzilla, like you said, alter, develop, change, advance in any meaningful way.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I mean, it's things like that. It really is just strong character that will elevate your Godzilla film from pretty alright, pretty good to one that I will be a big fan of.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I actually don't have too much more to say about this.
Neither do I. This is going to be a short episode.
Steven was telling me this is the first one to have a post-credit sequence.
That's right.
In fact, both ending shots of the film itself.
Oh, it's
the shot ends,
weird
it's
ending.
The weirdest end shot. We have the Major returning to see Kudo in civilian life a few weeks after the black hole, showing him evidence that there's been seismic activity and potentially Godzilla.
What do you think it is? Come on.
So he, I think, agrees to that. There's a bit of,
and she like gives him a friendly
punch in the arm.
Punch on the arm. And he goes, "Oh, it's a broken elbow," and she goes, "Oh, sorry."
And then
we freeze frame on her face.
On her apologising face.
Credits roll.
A weird ending. And then we go to the little post-credit sequence, which, like we said already, is the wee boy at his schoolhouse packing up or getting ready for the first day of school when there's an earthquake, and he looks outside, shocked, and then freeze frame. Yeah. And he feels horrible, deeply horrible. He knows what he did. He directly and single-handedly caused this to happen.
He's just going about his life,
I hope
knowing what
when
he
he's
did.
in his teenage years, a journalist will find this out and expose him for what he did.
Ultimately...
And get him fined for littering.
Ultimately, I think, like I said earlier, a lot of the issues I have with this film are issues I have with the 90s movies, where it feels like the same film being made again and again. Godzilla versus another villain with an increasingly sort of outlandish human-made strategy to annihilate Godzilla, with all three coalescing in a finale. And, a lot of the film is spent, tracking Godzilla and saying, he's here now. There's a sort of fight middle of the movie.
We almost get him.
Almost get him in the middle of the movie. There's a fight in the middle of the movie. Godzilla and the dragonflies on the island, which I do think is a great sequence, by the way. And then, it all... Spend a bit of time with the not so interesting human characters of this movie, and then the finale hits. There's really interesting stuff in this movie which unfortunately isn't focused on enough. Like, I think the sudden and unexpected flooding of Tokyo is really, really cool, and if we'd focused on that a bit more, I think the very real and horrible, as we've been shown, horrible threat of the Megaguirus should be focused on a bit more. Like, if you have these fucking deadly man-sized insects in a major population center, like that's not going to end well.
No, exactly. Like,
and maybe it would be a bit dark or gruesome to show that sort of effect, but you already have.
Yeah, you did it very flippantly.
We already had some very horror movie-esque kills. In the movie.
Well, it even goes back to what I was saying about early on in the film, like that the opening sequence really carries you on with the perspective of the soldiers. To have done something like that would have been really entertaining. Or even, like I said, everyone at the start of the movie seems to have this little baggage of previous trauma. Like a movie where you follow the perspective of the soldiers and you really explore this trauma of constant Godzilla attacks that happen every couple of years that everyone needs to be prepared for all the time. A movie exploring the sort of realities of living in that kind of world would have been an interesting place to go.
Yeah.
For a movie that had already kind of touched on it with an opening sequence that was so sort of heavily point of view from the troops.
It's a film that in its opening minutes it seems so intent on building an alternate history, as we keep saying, but then once we get into the meat of the movie, the main storylines, it's just recognisable as the world we live in.
Yeah, not too much changes from there.
Which
and Godzilla's a film that's had a lot of success with alternate futures and sort of alternate realities and alternate histories and taking the thing in a little bit of a science fiction direction or a neo-future thing. So yeah, it would have been fun to play with these elements.
Yeah, for example, it's all very well and good saying, the capital city is now Osaka, but
we spend time defending Tokyo.
Yeah, and how does that even affect the movie? It doesn't.
It doesn't. Yeah, exactly.
The interesting stuff in this movie is all backstory or setup.
Oh, and it would have been interesting to use it.
Unfortunately.
That is unfortunate.
Yeah.
I would say that's me.
Fair enough.
What do people think of this movie?
It's not so... It's not... Nah.
Yeah, the people whatever on it.
Not greatly fond of it, really. I don't know whether it's, where it comes down on, for me personally, where it's a big come down from 2000, and it feels like a lot of a retreading of a lot of the worst aspects of the Heisei movies, and we're meant to be in a new era, a new millennium of new directors getting to do their thing with Godzilla and what we end up with is a very rudimentary, very run of the mill, very, dare I say it, typical Godzilla movie. Mm-hmm. And I don't say that lightly, because I don't think any Godzilla movie is typical, really, because as we've discussed in the past, it's so tonally diverse, and all the subject matters of the movies are so diverse and varied, and there's no one thing that a Godzilla film is or should be. But what this film does become is just a very sort of okay.
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't going to be one of the ones you remember, is it?
No.
Really?
Certainly not.
Yeah.
Well, no, that makes sense to me. Yeah, it's not in any means a bad film, but it's not a particularly inspiring or electric or exciting film.
Like I said to you, I think this must be like G-Fest's most shown movie or something.
That's fun.
They show it, and this is by no exaggeration, like almost yearly.
Maybe it makes sense, because obviously there's a big number of Godzilla films and there's a big number of Godzilla fans, and everyone seems to have a lot of opinions and conflicts about, it seems like everyone's top movie is another half of the fandom's worst movie, and vice versa. So maybe by picking the film that everyone's at least like, it's alright, is the best thing to do for G-Fest. Keep no one happy, but no one upset.
Keep no one happy,
but no one upset.
G-Fest, keeping no one happy. That's a joke. I like G-Fest.
Yeah, I like G-Fest too. Never been.
I'm sure you would like it.
Yeah, totally. I would have a lot of fun.
Yeah. Let's go. Anyway.
Who we go as? Who should I go as if I go to G-Fest? Who will I dress as?
The Matthew Broderick.
Yes, I'll go with Matthew Broderick. Yeah, but I want to hear everyone's suggestions. Tweet us or Facebook us.
Sure.
Or email us. There is an email.
We doing this now? Yeah. We done?
I mean, unless you want to chat about other stuff, you want to chat.
It's the Kaijusaurus podcast, and as much as I like to chat, these tens of listeners here,
no, we know there's more than that, and we love you all.
Yeah,
and you've been absolutely wonderful. Yeah. Thanks for listening. But yeah, I guess let's wrap up.
I'm sorry you've waited ages for this one, and we're giving you 40 minutes.
At least 47 minutes, I think.
Before the edit.
Exactly, before the edit, before all our X-rated, crude, cruel, and crispy jokes are culled.
Right, some more quick opinions about Godzilla vs. Megaguirus.
Fire them out.
Okay. I like all the stuff with the dragonflies. I think the island fight with Godzilla versus the dragonflies is interesting. I like seeing Godzilla struggle with opponents that are small but many. It's a much better version of, for example, the scene in Godzilla vs. Destroyer where Godzilla is attacked by all the sort of smaller destroyers. This is a much better version of that scene, and we see him actually struggle and be briefly overwhelmed by just the sheer numbers of these things. I like a lot of the underwater photography. Not that it's actual genuine underwater photography, I don't think, but I like a lot of the scenes where we follow the small submersible going in the flooded streets, and we see all the eggs and stuff. I think that's really cool. You know, I like any sort of miniature porn, any detailed close-ups of the miniatures and stuff, just to see the craftsmanship. It's really, really cool. I'm just trying to get some positive things about the film because, like, I actually don't mind this film a lot. I just think it's very. Okay.
We're just deeply critical people.
I think. Again, with each movie, the compositing of Godzilla in real locations gets better every time. For example, there's a few shots where Godzilla enters Tokyo Bay, I think it is, which are absolutely seamless. There's a bird's eye view from the Griffin plane, I think. We just look straight down on Godzilla walking through a real street, and it's seamless. Godzilla's big jump.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that body slam.
Which is very 70s.
That neck, the way he defeats Megaguirus?
Yeah.
Is amazing. Megaguirus injects her tail thing and actually stings into his mouth.
Yeah.
So you're thinking, ooh, that's tough. But we turn the camera around, Godzilla chomps down.
He just bites it off.
Shatters the tail and just atomic breaths Megaguirus.
Yeah.
Blasts her off.
Yeah. So there we go.
There's some nice opinions.
And I think the music is really good.
Yeah,
I think
the music was good.
Because off the top of my head, I can't remember the name of the composer for this movie, but the composer introduces a sort of new alternative main theme for Godzilla. The Ifukube theme is the Ifukube theme is still there and it gets used again. But it's nice to have a new musical voice, and it's the do 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 do. It's sort of a very sort of slow, lumbering, ominous theme, whereas the Ifukube is more sort of it's triumphant in a way, and it's
quite intense.
It's much more of a sort of sudden entrance theme, whereas this is a sort of a slow, ominous build-up theme, and I like it. It's really good music.
So is it used again?
Yes. Not directly in the next one, but for a few after that. And I like the themes that we have for the Megaguirus creatures. The sort of the sort of horrible, like sort of shrieking. I don't know if it's a violin. I'm not very musical, but I like that. There we go.
Yeah,
there's some
nice
thoughts.
That balances it out.
Yeah.
There
we go. There's 47 minutes.
47 minutes. We've done it. Is there anything else we want to talk about? Do I want to tell people what I've been watching very quickly?
It's up to you, really.
I've been watching Mindhunter. I enjoyed the first 2 episodes of that. I'm someone that likes David Fincher, so I'm kind of keen to see what he does with a nice long Netflix series. I know technically that's what House of Cards was as well, but I'm not watching that. The Young Pope. I watched the first episode of The Young Pope. You know what? It's great. It's really good. I've seen another film by that director, that's Sorrentino, and it's very avant-garde in a good way, I would say, not for its own sake. Jude Law is very, very good. Diane Keaton is very, very good. And it has a good sense of real mystery and dread, because you don't know who he is. He's the young pope, but you don't know what his values are yet. So we're gonna find out what this young pope does next.
Isn't the next series of that called something like the new pope?
It's not like it's a 9 or 10 episode series.
The old
done,
pope.
But yeah, the old pope. But yeah, whatever the new program is, it will be called The New Pope. I have no idea if that's a continuation of the story or if it literally will be a new pope after Jude Law. Again, I've only seen the first episode, which is 2 hours long. So
fucking hell!
It's a long one.
Yeah. Well, we were having a chat earlier, weren't we, about just about television these days and like the length of it and the sort of storytelling mediums that people, not mediums, the ways they tell the stories, like how we feel a lot of TV these days is maybe a couple of hours worth of story stretched over
which is
8,
something
9, 10 hours.
I felt about Westworld, and you said you felt about Stranger Things.
Stranger Things. Like I like that a lot, but the first series is probably about. It's a 2-hour movie plot told over
10 hours.
Was that like 10 episodes?
10 episodes, yeah. And I like Stranger Things a lot.
I like it a lot, and I'll watch the second series.
Yeah, as I was saying, I'm actually more keen to see what they do in the second series now that they kind of have already exhausted their kind of Stephen King inspired, E.T. inspired kind of plot from the first one.
Millie Bobby Brown, who plays 11 in that series, is going to be in the next Legendary Pictures Godzilla movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Her first movie.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, good for her.
Good.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, nice.
Let's see. Is there anything else I need to tell you about that?
Why don't you tell us how we can be contacted?
We can be contacted on Facebook, the Kaijusaurus Podcast. That's the best place to get in touch with us.
Yeah, definitely.
Stephen has Twitter.
At Steven Scrivello, all one word.
And I have Twitter at Roz Menzies, but I'm having to keep it locked for employment reasons. So feel free to add me a request.
Locked because of his highly controversial views.
Because of my highly controversial views, which are my own and not representative of various organisations for whom I work.
Fair enough. There's also the email address, kaijusaurus@hotmail.co.uk.
UK. Send us an email. I want you to send me what minor or major Godzilla monster or character I should go as for Halloween. Bonus points if it's a duo costume that me and Stephen can both do.
Up next
is
the Kaijusaurus Podcast. For you,
hit the
Roz Menzies.
What is it?
Is again another reboot. We're rebooting.
We're rebooting.
And enter director Shusuke Kaneko, who has previous in the kaiju genre, but not in the Godzilla series.
Ooh, lovely.
In 1995 to 1999, he was the man responsible for the rebooting and critically acclaimed reimagining of Gamera.
Ooh, I hear that was pretty good.
Those are those three movies are. I'm not even going to say probably. They are three of the best kaiju films ever made.
Oh well, I will try and see them.
They're better than a lot of the Godzilla movies.
Fair. Fighting. You got words for Steven? Send us in a email.
I just says it how it is. Everyone thinks it. I just say it.
He really tells it like it is.
So Shusuke Kaneko directs the very snappily titled Godzilla Mothra King Ghidorah Giant Monsters All Out Attack.
Excellent. AKA GMK.
That's how it's known.
Oh really?
GMK,
oh well, that's cool. That's easy enough. Well,
so,
I'll see you all next time. Hopefully sooner than we left off, but we say that every time.
Yeah, we do.
Thanks for putting up with us, you know?
See you next time for GMK. This has been the Kaijusaurus Podcast. A very unmeaty discussion of Godzilla versus Megaguirus.
Brevity is the soul of wit.
Sure.
Wit is not shit.
Wit is not shit. Roz Menzies, 2017.
Thank you all.
Thank you. See you next time.
Please put all your litter away.
Bye.